everyone. It's time to eat, drink, and be merry with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy.
Welcome, everybody. We're very excited to welcome back Debbie Stone, travel writer and wine sipper, apparently. She had a good time in Woodinville wine country. Am I saying this correctly? Woodinville wine country.
Yes. Yes.
Woodinville. And this is up in
Yep. Washington
State. And everyone, check
Correct.
it out at woodinville-winecountry.com. And you can read Debbie's article up on blendradioandtv.com. It'll be in the next issue of Eat, Drink, and Be Merry magazine. But she says, sip and stay in Woodinville wine country. And, we call her the fire monkey because she is. But, fire monkeys do drink wine, apparently. So welcome back, Debbie. How are you?
I'm well, and yes, they do drink wine.
Well, you sip and stay, and maybe you may. I think with you, it's sip, swing, and stay. That's you got to swing from one branch to the other. But it's interesting about this story because you talk about that you lived in the Seattle region for a long time, and you said you actually lived in Woodinville, right?
I did.
Wow. And there was only one winery at that time?
Yes. When we moved there was just Chateau Saint Michel, and, it was like the grand dame of the wineries, but there was only this one beautiful French chateau winery that came and, opened its doors, I think, back in the mid-'70s. And that kind of started everything. I mean, it was this beautiful, beautiful place, and you could go and walk the grounds. You could go and do a tour of the whole thing and, do wine tasting. And it was a place for events and eventually a place for outdoor concerts on their lawn and a place for, weddings and all that, whatever celebrations. But it was the place. And then it kind of set in motion this whole wine industry in Woodinville. And what's happened over the years, many years since then, there's now about over 130, from what I understand, wineries and tasting rooms in town. And believe me, whenever you drive in town, this, used to be kind of a sleepy town, and now it's like it's bustling with all the wine tasters and, all the little tasting rooms and the wineries and all the industries and businesses that have been created as a result of that. Also in the culinary or the food scene, that's also come alive in Woodinville, which used to not have very many restaurants at all. So it's become this magnet, and it's been, it's kind of like the Washington State magnet for wine. So it's, it's exciting for people who are interested in doing wine tasting, interested in good wines, especially people who visit the Seattle area, because it's only about 30 minutes right outside of Seattle, so it makes for a very nice day trip. Or if you want to stay the night, which I talk about, it's a great place for that as well.
Because I always think about Washington State and like Seattle coffee, and then Eastern Washington like Yakima and is it Walla Walla? I just want to say Yakima and Walla Walla. I mean, they're great names. That is the wine area. So I had no idea about Woodinville whatsoever. I knew that you lived in that area. And by the way, we just did an interview about Bainbridge Island. I think that's where you were with Blodell. Am I saying it? Blodell Reserve?
Yeah.
That you were there. We were just doing that, and I thought of you, and I'm like, okay, she's been all over this area. This is Debbie Land.
I was going to say, I know this region quite well. And yes, you're right. You're right about the Eastern Washington. It is the place where the grapes, grow, and that is where that stems from. But the tasting rooms came over to Western Washington because there is such a good population center there in terms of the Seattle area, Seattle-Tacoma, that there is a great audience for these tasting rooms. And so that's kind of what happened. So you find these wineries and places on the eastern part of the state that then open tasting rooms over on the western side.
So, because in your article you said there was about over 130 wineries and tasting rooms. So some of them are bringing the grapes over and making wine in the area in Woodinville, and some are tasting rooms. Wow.
Exactly. So there are most of them, I would say, are tasting rooms, but there is quite dozens of them that are actually producing wine, in these very boutique winery settings, of course, very small settings, but they are creating wine right on site.
You said in your article, too, in 2017, that the city of Woodinville did a tourism study, and they said over 800,000 people visited the town for wine-related activities.
Yep.
That's like, so, yeah, people were pouring in. Sorry.
It's and then, of course, they've got, special occasions, crush time, autumn, whatever that, where they have, big weekends where people come and they do like a passport thing where they go from winery to winery and, can get passport stamped. And this, of course, I think is definitely something that was done, pre-COVID. I don't know exactly what's their plans now, but people are returning to the wineries. People are returning. They've got protocols in place, but it's going well, and it's really exciting. And there's even more development coming. So this is just, I think, once again a tip of an iceberg.
Oh. Without the ice wine, or do they have? They don't have ice wine though, do they? I mean, that's more in like Michigan and
ice wine. It's really interesting. Ice wine. They have a lot of ice wine up in BC, in British Columbia. That's a big ice wine place. I don't know about Woodinville. I haven't had ice wine in Woodinville, and I have not sampled it there, so I don't know if somebody is producing it.
Now I know you just went to Maine and had a big adventure, and that whole region. Did you have wine there?
Yes, I did at an interesting winery called Cellar Door, and they actually, speaking of ice wine, they actually produced the first ice wine in Maine. So,
see, I knew there was going to be a connection there, and I know everyone will be chatting with Debbie on her next adventure soon. So. Stay tuned for that. But Woodinville, isn't it interesting to go back to an area that you lived in?
Yes.
And isn't that kind of like, it's sometimes when people do that, it's like, oh no, and then or oh yay or mixed.
Yes.
How was it going back?
I've been back over the years, and you start to see it, and it becomes very noticeable. I think. For me, it's a bit of a mix, I think, I loved the kind of the sleepy, peaceful feel of Woodinville, at least as a place to raise my kids. But it is exciting, I think, to put Woodinville on the map in this way, and to get people to come out and see it, because it's also a very interesting area, and it's also a very pretty area too. And there's a lot of outdoor activity that goes on there. So I think it is a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag.
Oh, so with the wineries and all these tasting rooms, do you have limos that can take you around and people that can drive you around, so you're not being silly,
Absolutely.
We can be silly, but you have a driver that allows you to be silly. So you don't be silly behind the wheel.
And for those big, passport with those weekends when people go from winery to tasting room, it's they've got you can get one of those limos or vehicles to take you around, which is the safest thing. You park your car once and then that's it. Or you can park your car in an area, one of the 4 districts is what they've got in wine districts in the city, and you can park it in one of the areas, and then you can just walk around if that makes sense to you.
I like this. Now, I want to talk about the 2 wineries that you went to.
Yeah.
And definitely talk about the lodging, because it seems like the lodging just kind of fit the whole experience. But you went to Mark Ryan's winery. Mark Ryan Winery, and is it DeLille Cellars? I'm really bad at all these names. DeLille.
No,
okay.
DeLille. You did well.
Ooh, you guys owe me a glass of wine. So Mark Ryan, I think we should call him Mark Rocker Ryan. So he's got music is going on in his winery, which I think is so cool, because motorcycles, music. It seems like this is just taking the lid off of, the snobby era of wine, and he's kind of going let's party. and have a good time.
You know, it's just a really fun place to go and do this experience. It's just a very kind of got this hip vibe to it with a lot of vintage furniture, and he loves motorcycles, and there are motorcycles in there, and then there's all these posters, these rock bands because he loves going to concerts, and so you know you've got all that, and there's music going on, and people tasting wine, and it's they open their doors out to the patio. You know, it's just a great fun vibe, when you're there in the middle of the afternoon or later part of the afternoon. And he's one of the top. He's been ranked. His winery has been ranked as one of the top 100 wineries in the world. And he was at one point named Winemaker of the Year by Seattle Magazine. So he's definitely got some accolades there and some definite recognition for him and his wines. And they were good, very, very good.
I love that he connects it with music too, because you think about Seattle being such a musical city as well, right? You know, so you got Jimi Hendrix, you got to think about like Pearl Jam, Nirvana.
Oh yeah.
Foo Fighters. I know he's got all that Alabama Shakes. He got him in there, like that's some of the posters he's there, but but then his names of his wine, I love that too, because he also named some of his wines after his daughters, and then there's, Lost Soul, which is a Syrah. Like this is, and then Monkey Wrench. I want the Monkey Wrench.
Definitely, most definitely. And then the long haul, which I love the idea behind that, which was he made these lengthy treks from the Seattle area on the western side of the state to the vineyards, which were on the eastern side of the state. And he made these long haul drives, and to really try to get his business going and to realize his dreams to make them come true. And so it was neat that was named after that aspect of his life.
This is cool. Nancy and I are going to be in Anacortes in February and March. So we might have to make a detour here. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking it's not that far, right? Because
no, you're like less than an hour away. So we need to go.
And then we're going to be in Wenatchee.
Oh, Wenatchee, yes.
Later in the end of spring into early summer. So we've got 2 times to try these 2 wineries. So DeLille Cellars, you also say it's Bordeaux style blends. So this is kind of a thing that seems to come out of that area.
Yes, and they've also kind of put that on the map for Washington State in terms of those blends, and they've also had quite an impact and influence in the whole viticultural region, and they've been around for almost 30 years, so they have a lot of name recognition there, and they're very beloved and very renowned. And as I put in there, they have over 200 top-rated wines, and have been in the top 5 American wineries, and all this, and they just built a new, really cool, modern tasting room that's just awesome, and it's in this kind of this multi-level building, and there's tastings on different levels, and they have a patio, and now they've created a restaurant called the Lounge, and they've really got it going there, and they produce wine on site too, which is kind of cool, and their wine was excellent. It was a great experience as well.
I like it because you got to have a charcuterie plate and sit down and just kind of taste and sample, and I like that. I think a little nibblies are good. We need to have nibblies.
Oh, I love nibblies. I'm a lightweight, so I need nibblies.
I'm practiced and I need nibblies. But, we all need nibblies, but it changes the whole experience and it slows you down. That's the other thing. It slows you down, and
which I think is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with where they are, what's the surroundings like? I mean, it's a modern tasting room, so it's kind of, is it chilled? Can you relax with your food and wine?
Yes, definitely. Very relaxing, very casual. There's no pretense at all. It's very comfortable. I think it's another great place. Most of the tasting rooms and places you go are very, they're very casual and low keyed, and you come as you are kind of thing. So it makes for a very pleasant experience, because I'm not into that whole kind of wine experience. That's not me. That's not me at all, And as I put in my story, I am not a dedicated wine writer like, some of the people that I know that are on your shows and do your stories that are really, really, really good at writing about wine and talking about wine. That's not me. I enjoy sampling it.
Yeah, you're like Nancy. We're like, I could go, okay, I can taste some plum and some cherry. Nancy's always, it's got the peppery on the back end. That's Nancy's thing. She looks for the peppery or tastes for the peppery back end. That's her thing, but that's what she likes. Like a good Tempranillo makes Nancy very happy. But like a good Syrah or Mourvedre, and apparently I don't say that correctly either, is really good. But to me, it's about what you enjoy, and I think that's what wineries have really shifted over the years, has had to shift into, we're not sitting there looking, did you clean the dirt under your fingernails before you walked into a winery? You can walk in, or relax and enjoy.
Or are you like talking, really talking the talk, so to speak, and like, oh my gosh, this aroma, this note, this whatever, and it's like, I'm just not into that. I just want to say, I like that wine. What is that wine? And it's like,
I like being with people who can do that though, because you can learn, and it adds this experience. But don't judge me on it, ma'am.
No. I will fall far behind in that case, but I will enjoy listening and hearing about it. But when it comes down to it, it's just it's a personal thing. It's like, I like this wine,
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. No matter what, whether it's food, it's wine, it's spirits. Okay, so let's go into that. Let's talk about spirits. Because apparently, and Nancy really wishes she was on the show, but we have a technical thing that she can't be on, because her computer wants her to have a wine break, apparently. But
or a spirit break.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, Nancy loves rum, so apparently you went to the Caribbean. And come on, you've got island life all around you there, so this makes sense.
It does make sense. I mean, Puget Sound rum and then Woodinville whiskey. I mean, so it's not all about wine, but I mean, they have spread out and expanded into spirits and into hard ciders and into rum. And so, people who, if wine is not their thing, there are other options. Or if they want to, do wine and spirits, that's definitely an option, So, there's a cider place, the Locust Cider, which I thought was really cool because I just love the story behind the name. I mean, it to me is very interesting.
Yeah.
This founder, Jason Spears, had some sort of near-death experience when he was a teen, and while he was waiting for the ambulance to come, he heard these crickets, locusts. He heard this drone of locusts, and this sound just became a symbol of, his strength, perseverance, of being able to get through this, terrible incident, and the qualities those qualities served him well to start his cider business.
That's awesome. When you think about like tying that kind of, that's a huge deal. That's huge. I mean, and then it propels you to really appreciate life, right?
Exactly, and to go in the direction, to do something that you really want to do, make it happen, make it happen. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And
great.
So in cider too, hard cider is like it had this blossoming. I think like 5-10 years ago, it started to come out here.
Yes.
Living in England and South Africa, cider was a big deal.
Yes,
especially for women. Yes. Like we had the lighter side of the beer drinkers of South Africa, right? But and in England too. So for ladies, we kind of did that, and you can make really good cocktails with cider as well. But I think that's also really cool because you've got hard cider, and Washington is known for apples too. The state.
Yes. Absolutely, big time in apples. And, there's also a place, I think I mentioned in the story about, it's called Ales and Tales, which I loved. So you've got your dog with you. You can go to this place. It is a combo indoor dog park and a tap room. So, your dogs can roam freely off leash as you are, sipping a pint.
Wow.
So it's that was kind of cool. And there's one other place, and I forgot to mention it in my story, but it's called Wine and Pie, and you can have pie with your wine.
No, see, this is cool. But that's the thing. I think people are being more creative and fun about it, and that's where it's changed. That's why I keep saying this on shows, that breweries taught wineries lessons, like loosen up. Yeah. We can have pizza and beer. We can have wings and beer. We can have fun. We can have sports on. We don't have to be, too la-di-da, and yet we can really appreciate good wine, So So we can be, discerning at the same time as having a good time. So I think there was just this one period that, But I love the ales and tales. I'm seeing more of that happening in cities where there's dog parks and cocktails or dog parks and beer. And it seems that America's getting, especially now during COVID, so many people got animals, pets, that's becoming a new thing, too, that I want to take my dog outside. I want to, let them out and run, because we all know now, after being, cooped up, that we all need to be out. So
Absolutely.
Everybody has that appreciation. And watching dogs and having a beer doesn't sound like a bad thing to me. Is Seattle and that region dog-centric? Like, Asheville, right? Asheville is so dog-centric. All the breweries, and it's Beer City, USA, right? So half of the breweries, like, you take your dogs to the breweries, and they have dog bowls out and whatever.
Oh, yes, Seattle, very much so. I think the whole Pacific Northwest, Oregon, I mean, they're just, dogs are, there's a lot of outdoor activity, and dogs make great companions for outdoor activities for people, and so there are I always see little dog bowls, and I see little bowls with little bones in them. There's always something for dogs, and especially because a lot of owners who have these places have their own dogs, and so they're very attuned to that, and they want to be welcoming and hospitable as well to that.
It's all about the woofers and Woodinville. The woofers and wine in Woodinville. I love it.
I like that.
Willow's Lodge. Okay, so this sounds like an amazing reading about it, like beautiful gardens, looking at the pictures, like beautiful gardens, luxury, but not, again, kind of like how wineries have changed. So discerning, clean, luxurious, but not over the top where you
Absolutely.
You have to wear a business suit coming in kind of thing.
No, it's like I'm all about comfort, and I also appreciate beautiful surroundings, but I want them to be comfortable and not to make me feel like I have to. There's some pretense there, or whatever. This is such a wonderful place to stay, and it's right in the middle of the Woodinville wine country. In fact, you can park your car and walk to various wines within what's called the Hollywood district. So they're right there. In fact, right next door was DeLille, and right up the hill was Mark Ryan, and then it's right on the Sammamish Valley Trail, the trail there, and it's just the river is there, and it's very peaceful, and there's a wonderful, wonderful trail, and there's bikers, and there's people walking and jogging, and it's great because you've got everything there, so you really can park and just do everything from there. But the place is just quite a unique place because of not only the Pacific Northwest native art that is all throughout the whole property, but the gardens that are just exquisite, and all the wood, the handsome timber that's used, and it's just everything. It's the complete package.
I like that. I like when you can just kind of stroll the grounds and look at flowers.
Yes.
But they also tell us about the piggies.
Yes, in fact, I guess
this
there
is
are
important.
I was just told there are two new piggies that the Basil and Borage retired, and so they have two new ones. But they are pet pigs, and they belong to the Herb Farm, which is on the property of the Willows. But the Willows doesn't run it, and it does not own the Herb Farm, but it is on the property. And this is a very world-renowned, 9-course meal type of place with the chef explaining everything and wine pairings, and it's this very unique gastronomy experience. But of course, you are, as I said, you're going to have to dig deep into the old pocketbook for this one. But the pigs are on the Willows property, and you can go see them. They're along with all these beautiful water features and these the sculptures, the outdoor sculptures are beautiful. The gazebos, a great place to get married. It's stunning. But the Willows has their own restaurant, which is called the Barking Frog, and it is also acclaimed and well known. And we had dinner there one night, and it was superb. It was a great place. Not only the ambiance, which is just, very casual and comfortable but cozy, a beautiful patio that we could dine al fresco, but the food is wonderful, wonderful.
Oh my gosh! And you had like all kinds of wonderful desserts. That's what I was reading about.
Yes,
dessert, wine, all that good stuff.
Yep. And then there's and then, like to top it off, if you want even more of the relaxation vibe at the Willows, there's, they have a wonderful hot tub, a beautiful, they've got a sauna, they've got a spa where you can have treatments. It's, to me, it's, like I said, the complete package. So if you're going to go and you want a wine taste in Woodinville, then make it an overnight, make it a weekend thing.
I like this because you also have the outdoors. And
yes.
So you kind of have this nice balance. And I know you love that. Go hike, go paddleboarding, like you're saying. You got the Cascade Mountains, like right there. So this is like nature. It's, wine,
food,
spirits, and more. Doggies and pigs. It sounds good to me. I love it. So I know you just came back from, what do you call it?
Maine.
The whole, Maine and the whole New Hampshire area, right? It's like that. Yes, that whole corner of the states that Nancy and I haven't got to yet, but you got there, so that's great. So we can learn more about that. We'll be chatting about that with you soon. But where's next for you, the next destination?
Well, we're going up for family reasons to the Northwest again, up to Oregon, actually. So we'll be in the Portland area.
Oh, my gosh, we're going back to Oregon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take a little detour over to the Oregon coast because we love it. We love it there. And so it's like when you're that close, it's like I need to go over there and get my ocean fix because being in landlocked Santa Fe is, you miss the water. So I need to get my ocean fix there. So, and then, later in December we head to, the Big Apple, to New York City and to the Boston area for some family as well. But I haven't been to New York in a couple of years. Had tried to get there before the pandemic hit, but I am planning to go again, and I want my fix on Broadway to see some shows, and I want to get to some museums and soak up the whole New York City vibe.
Awesome, good. You paved the way. Nancy and I are scared of New York.
Oh my gosh.
No. You know what? I was telling her, we just drove through some of the most major cities in this country. You're seriously, we can do it. We can do it. But, give us some wine. We can do anything. It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine.
Gosh.
But I'm glad. No, it's going to be great. I can't wait to hear about it. And we'll be chatting soon about Maine. So everyone, again, the Maine website is Woodinville-Winecountry.com. Also read Debbie's article up on BlendRadioandTV.com and also be featured in the upcoming issue of Eat, Drink, and Be Merry magazine. Super cool, Fire Monkey. We'll chat with you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, and have a good one.
You too. You take care.
All right. Bye-bye.